welcome back to the Global Gaming Podcast, where we always try, but always do a terrible job at keeping you guys entertained, given the fact that we only have 5 people who actively watch us. But fuck it, like, to those 5 people, we appreciate you.
Yeah, we have 5 more than 0. We look at it that way.
Anyway, I guess it's time. This week we have a shit ton of news to talk about, and most of it is not drama for once. Thank God for that, right?
Yep.
Yep, and I guess we'll start with Symphony, with the fact that some Castlevania games are getting remastered for
Yeah.
PlayStation 4, I think. Is that right?
Although only the PlayStation 4. As sucky as that is, it's Rondo of the Blood, which has already been remastered, but they're remastering again, apparently. And finally, they're remastering Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Which I remember, I think if I remember right, you said that if Konami released Symphony of the Night for other systems, that would go a long way for you. So,
Oh yeah, it would.
so there you go. They did it just for the PlayStation 4 only. Well,
It's so close, you tripped to the finish line, Konami. Why can't you release it for the Switch or the PC, either? I mean, that should be a no-brainer. Why not those systems as well?
I'm wondering, because I'm looking up on what platforms it's been on, and it says it's been on the original PlayStation, PlayStation Portable, Sega Saturn, and now PlayStation 4. So I'm wondering, well, no, they can't have some Sony deal and stuff, because they released it on the frickin' Sega Saturn, which is, Sega.
Yeah.
I don't know what their deal is, but, maybe they're trying to, test the waters first.
But test the waters. What is there to test? It's Symphony of the Night. It is one of the games that literally made the Metroidvania style of gameplay.
Well, maybe Sony, maybe they have some backdoor deal with Sony or something.
No.
Maybe they're just being fucking idiots.
I'm sure. I mean, anybody who has a Raspberry Pi has that game on their system, including me.
Yeah, it's a start though. At least it's on the PlayStation 4. Here's hoping for maybe a PC and a Nintendo Switch release, and an Xbox One release as well, of course. Can't forget about the Xbox.
Yeah. Yet this is Konami, and we all know how much they hate money and success, so let's not hold our breath.
Well, at least it's the start. They're releasing some of their old games on a newer system. So, it's a start.
Yeah, newer system.
Yeah,
I mean, can we really call the PlayStation 4 new at this point?
well, that's why I said it's newer. It's newer as opposed to, like, the original PlayStation, Sega Saturn, or the PlayStation Portable. That's why I said newer, not just new. That the PlayStation 4 is newer than the original PlayStation. Because if you are going to argue that, I have to say we're going to have quite the discussion.
No. Although I guess something that I can make dramatic for you.
What?
It's time for our favorite part of the podcast. We're going to trigger Papa G. Okay, Papa G, you ready to get triggered?
Sure, what's up?
Well, Lawbreakers is officially dead. But it's not just dead, it was murdered.
I was waiting for you to say that joke. The funny thing is, when I was talking before the podcast, I was thinking about saying that joke, and I thought, no, that's too cringy. Of course you said it.
Well, you have to be triggered at least once in the podcast. That's where the drama comes from. There has to be some drama, unfortunately.
But yes, I guess it's one of the few times where you could say it was murdered.
Yes, it's officially been killed by Nexon.
Yeah, it's one of the few times where you can say that unironically because it makes actual sense. I have to stop myself. Almost went on another off-topic rant, but like we're talking about.
Do so. Come on, that's what people love about this podcast.
Well, like what I was gonna say.
Yes.
Was,
Yeah, that and the fact that we don't just have a random static background.
The one problem I never brought up involving Clean Prince Gaming, which I just now thought of, that is oftentimes who like makes these bold claims like this game is a new big thing, or this game is gonna flop, or this thing, that thing, only to later come up with a video that goes along lines of "I was wrong," and I bet you anything he purposely makes those videos just so he can have a chance on making those "I was wrong" videos so he can make more money. Because at this point he is really desperate for video topics.
Well, I've got to admit, it is one hell of a business plan.
Yeah. Like it wouldn't surprise me at all if it's like if I ever met him, he was like, "Oh yeah, I totally make the videos so I can probably make that later."
Well, YouTube is a business when you get down to it, so I'm not surprised if that's his business plan.
Yeah. Anyway, though, what else is going on? Oh, yeah, so
I mean, wouldn't you tell me that game theory, they mess up theories on purpose so that they get more controversial so more people watch them?
I mean, it's possible, but it's like, I don't know.
No, but I mean, that's pretty funny.
I mean, I guess it's possible, but I feel like that'd be giving them too much credit, in a way. Well, like, here's the thing. I think they do... No, actually, I do know they do that, or at least sort of, because there's this YouTuber called Inside a Mind who did a video about how he sort of at one point worked for Game Theory, how he did an episode, and he received an email from MatPat himself saying that, and this is very public, you can look this up and everything, pretty much MatPat himself sent an email, when you make a theory, don't worry about contradicting information and stuff, just focus on, like, details that support your argument. So, he he might actually be doing that purposely to drum up controversy.
Which gets more people to pay attention to it, and that is clever.
But yeah, whether for one reason or another, he does flat out tell his writers that write theories for him that, like, don't worry about contradictory information, just focus on information that supports your theory. I'm pretty certain that if you used that in any other thing, you'd get murdered. Well, to be fair, he's already being murdered, so.
Oh, is he? The views going down? I haven't been paying attention to him lately.
Like, not necessarily. I just mean, like, there's, like, I know a lot, there's this whole subculture on the internet of just, where people just like to bash or, like, do responses to game theory or whatnot. It's like how some people make their living, so. Anyway, yeah, also Lawbreakers, yeah, I'm sad to see that Lawbreakers is, completely, gone now. I never played the game myself, but still, it's sad to see just, like, games like that up and die, you know? It's just...
Yeah.
That's
Guess it was.
Sorry. You saying?
Guess it was just way too similar to Overwatch. Didn't give people enough reason to switch.
Yeah. Maybe, this is why, single-player games are better, because them... My problem with multiplayer games is if the community dies off, then that game kind of dies off too. But, like, with
Single player, you can have mods.
Yeah, single players, you can have mods, you can have a whole bunch of stuff, and there's a lot more lower of a chance that it'll disappear one day.
Yep, that's how Final Fantasy 15 was saved.
Yep.
You don't want to play as Noctis? Fine, play as 2B instead.
Yeah, that is true. Anyway, what else should we talk about? Do you have anything else to add about Lawbreakers?
No, not really.
So,
Although if we're still in the whole controversy territory, I guess we could talk about microtransactions for Devil May Cry 5.
Well, didn't we already talk about that? I guess, didn't we?
But still technically in the news, you wrote me about it.
Fair enough. I have some, like, based on some rumors or some things I've heard, apparently it's going to be similar to the Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition microtransactions, which were pretty much completely unneeded at all whatsoever. So, I personally think that if that's true, that's a good thing, because that means, you have a better chance of just ignoring them or whatnot, but either way, it kind of sucks, you know? Matches and all these suck. But, still have some hope for the game, though.
No, my hope's gone down a bit since microtransactions are added.
I mean, yeah, my hope has gone down too, but I still have hope, is what I'm saying.
I mean, let's hope it's not going to be another Shadow of War thing.
I hope so. Well,
That's like, okay, you don't technically need to have them to complete the game, but the end of the game becomes a massive pain without them. Until we change it like a year and a half later.
well, if they do it, the Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, or the Deus Ex Mankind Divided route, where the microtransactions were just slapped in last minute, and they weren't required whatsoever, frickin' ever, then I'll be perfectly happy.
We can only hope it goes that way.
And you can't lose hope just yet. I mean, like, literally, like, it was funny, like, literally every single thing about the game was good news before this. They were striving for... What? What do you mean? They're striving, like, before the microtransactions, it was nothing but good news. They're striving for...
Yeah, I wonder why they would put them in at all.
They're striving for 60 FPS across all platforms.
Well, yeah, exactly. So why put them in at all? I mean, this is like making an incredible ice cream sundae, and instead of a cherry on top, you put a massive turd on top of it. Yeah. It's like, why would you do that? Funny, the turd is now all people see. Hello?
No, I was thinking how to respond. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of a way to respond to that in a funny way. Well, like I said, hopefully there will be a small dent on an otherwise massive piece, because it's like, before this, everything about it sounded perfect. Like 60 FPS on all platforms, the music sounded great, the style looks awesome, it's cheesy as hell.
Or in all likelihood, due to an internet that remembers things like this, people are going to remember the microtransactions that are in it.
Well, just
maybe. I mean, no, it is. I mean, they made a perfect ice cream sundae, but instead of a cherry, they put a freaking turd on top of it.
We'll see what happens.
And that's all anyone remembers about it.
Well, we'll see when the game releases. Hopefully, the microtransactions will be non-existent in terms of like how much you need them, and it'll just be a perfect, awesome game that we can all love and just ignore the microtransactions. Or it won't be a terrible game and it'll suck.
Well, one can hope you're right.
I mean, hey, what's wrong with, like, I don't know, I personally have a good amount of hope that they'll be, that won't be that intrusive, because, like, come on, this is, like, I mean, this is Devil May Cry. It can't be intrusive, can it?
I don't know. I wonder why put microtransactions? Why not just do what Final Fantasy 15 did and put mods in it instead?
Well,
I mean, that really would have increased the longevity and popularity of the game.
Well, ask Capcom, not me.
Yeah, I guess Capcom is just run by monkeys on typewriters, I guess.
Looks like, at the same time, though, hope, like, it gives me, another reason why it gives me some hope, because, like I mentioned, the special edition of Devil May Cry 4 had microtransactions, and they didn't, like, fuck with the game that much, they were just slapped in, so, as a say you're a lazy developer, like, and you have to slap in microtransactions, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna build an intricate system around it, or are you just gonna slap them in? Well, then again, if you're a dev that wants... Never mind, ignore me.
Lazy developer or a publisher? I don't know.
Anyway.
I mean, all likelihood, they were just shoved in there as a publisher decision.
Anyway, in other news...
No.
You're right there?
No, ignore that. I knocked something over on my end. Ignore it.
In other news, we have an update on the Telltale situation. A few, actually. I guess I'll start with the fact that some employees are suing the company, on top of or what remains of the company, on top of the former CEO and founder of the company. So Telltale has a lot of lawsuits to deal with.
Yeah, a very interesting tale from the company, isn't it?
Quite the tale. But apparently, despite this stuff, the massive layoffs, blah blah blah, all the other stuff, apparently there's still, the last word from them officially from their Twitter was that they're still trying to get episodes 3 and 4 of the final season of The Walking Dead made somehow. Apparently, they said they have some investors that are still interested. I mean, my question is, if I'm an investor, why would I invest in that into a company that's literally dying, like as we speak?
Mm. Well,
It's like you might as well burn it.
interesting enough, considering they do have the ability to make Walking Dead games, was it?
I guess
I mean, let's say Netflix, and this is a belief that could happen, they could theoretically buy out Telltale Games and have them make it.
I did hear, interestingly, I did hear, that, like, that, apparently, like, for a while, I don't know if you knew this or not, but, like, Telltale was making a Stranger Things game, and that has since been cancelled, and that apparently Netflix has since come out and said that they're currently exploring other options, so that could be one option. They could just buy out Telltale and
Mm-hmm.
finish it that way.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting.
But at the same time, what are they there to buy out? Right now, there's only like 25 employees that work there. I mean, like, what are they really gonna buy? Like the 25 people that remain
But
there?
well, it's not really employees when a company goes down. When a company goes down, you leave the brand name, which can still hold weight with people, and any of the IPs that they own
Yeah, but like, what IPs do
that
they
were
own?
really good. But
Like, these are the IPs that Telltale owns. They own Puzzle Agent, which no one knows about. They own Poker Night, which is one of the few Telltale games I would actually really recommend. Poker Night 2 particularly is really good. And I think that's it. They might own one other IP. Like, they might have the rights to Wolf Among Us, but other than that, there's not much there to really buy.
mm-hmm.
Netflix already owns Stranger Things, so it's not like they're gonna gain the it's not like they're gonna gain the IP by buying a Telltale.
You never know. It might happen.
What else is there? But yeah, there isn't many Telltale games I would like wholly recommend. Like, I don't hate them, I don't love them, but like one of the few ones I definitely would be Poker Night 2, which is
Mm-hmm.
uh which is pretty much a game where it just takes a couple of characters and stuff. It takes Ash from Evil Dead, a character from the Boondocks. I can't remember what character it was. And Sam and Max from the Sam and Max games, and one other character that I can't remember, Claptrap from Borderlands. And then you just play poker against them, and it's just like a funny, nice little chill game. It's like not like super intense or anything, but it's a nice chilling game I like to play every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, good. So to those that are currently left at Telltale, good luck trying to finish off episodes 3 and 4. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but if you do it somehow, you have my props.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and one other minor note is apparently the final season has also officially been removed from gaming stores, like other stores, like pretty much all stores right now, like from the Xbox,
Okay.
PlayStation, Steam, GOG. Right now, everywhere it's been currently removed, but they haven't said it's officially canceled.
And do you have anything else on Telltale, or should we go to what is currently blowing up the internet at the moment? Which, thinking back, we probably should have started with.
Trying to think, is there anything I want to say about Telltale? I would like to try out some of the Sam and Max games. That's it. That's all I can think about.
I think you can probably find those on Steam, can't you?
Yeah. Anyway,
Along with Alone in the Dark, the original game.
yeah.
That one's worth playing.
Mine quite a bit on Steam. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
in other news, do you want, how about you, talk about, I don't know what we're gonna add to it, but, like, how about you start with, what's been blowing up with the internet? You explain it to the audience.
Well, that would be Bowsette, obviously.
So what do you, like, I don't know what we could say about it that hasn't already been said, but what do you have to say?
And then you take Rule 34, you take Bowser and a crown that turns a Toadette into a princess, and all of a sudden you end up with Bowsette.
What I find funny is that all this is spurred out of, just, like, the announcement of a port and, like, a minor feature they added. So,
Mm-hmm.
you never know what is and isn't going to become a meme nowadays.
Well, never underestimate the power of the human sex drive, apparently. Or how disappointed people were with the ending of Super Mario Odyssey.
I thought that was just a joke. I didn't think people were actually disappointed by it.
No, people were disappointed by it. You can read some of the comments in the ending videos.
Technically, there's like multiple endings to Mario Odyssey because like after you quote unquote beat the game, there's still like other things to do. Not so. But what else is there? Oh yeah. Don't know what else to say about that, but like except that she's pretty sexy, and I would totally fuck her if she existed. What about you? Would you fuck her?
I'm not entirely sure about that one yet. And this probably isn't that kind of podcast. I suppose we can move on.
Fair enough. What else do we have to talk about?
Oh, we can talk about Sony being good for once, actually being crossplayed up. Fortnite.
Yeah, so apparently Sony is now allowing crossplay for at least Fortnite. Are they allowing it for other games or just Fortnite?
Well, from what we know so far, it's just Fortnite, but it's a step in the right direction.
In the right direction. And apparently Bethesda did, which is very smart when you think about it. They pretty much just threw Sony under the bus when it came to Fallout 76 not having crossplay. They claim that the reason why they don't have crossplay is because Sony wouldn't allow it, but then Sony allows crossplay, and Bethesda says that yeah, we're still not allowing it. We just threw Sony under the bus. Pretty clever, Bethesda, but that's also pretty scummy.
Yeah. Always funny when companies try to outdo each other in the worst ways possible. Even funnier that Microsoft has basically admitted the Xbox is basically a PC at this point.
Yeah, which brings us to the fact that apparently I've heard about this rumor a while ago, but now it seems confirmed that they're allowing keyboard and mouse support on the Xbox One. Is that correct?
Yep.
I don't know. Like, what do you think about this? Do you think that's a good decision or a stupid decision?
I'm glad people are getting the options to do it. I support that.
Yeah, me too. But
if you're gonna play with PC players anyway in crossplay games, you should have mouse and keyboard support.
Yeah, I agree with that, but at the same time, I can't help but think that like, why would you get an Xbox? Well, I guess it's great to have the options. I think it's awesome, but at the same time, why would I get an Xbox One? It just seems utterly pointless at this point, at least to me.
I mean, it's you and me, probably. Now, someone who's probably been a console player the whole life, so I guess it could make sense to get an Xbox at this point.
My sister's boyfriend has an Xbox One, so so I can't judge him too harshly since he's my sister's boyfriend. He's on PC, and I've occasionally poked him about it, PC can do blah 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 and whatnot.
Even if you're using a laptop like I am at the moment, it can do a lot of things.
Yeah. He plays on PC a bit, but I think he's primarily a console player just because he's been one his whole life. But whatever. It doesn't matter. No matter what you play on, as long as you're a gamer, you're a gamer.
Yeah. Apparently, according to the rated D, PC players are not actual gamers now. Okay.
Well, here's a question. Do you consider mobile gamers gamers?
Yeah.
Okay, I was curious.
Just not as much as one.
Which reminds me, apparently Nintendo recently released some mobile game that I heard is actually kind of deep for a mobile game, which sounds interesting. I forget what it was called.
Well, this is Nintendo. Say what you like about them business-wise, but in the game and story department, they actually do very well.
Based on what I've heard, it sounds like that I forget what it's called. What is it? I have to look this up. Nintendo new mobile game. Dragula Lost. It's called.
Okay, I'll have to look at that one.
haven't played it myself, but apparently it's somewhat deep for a mobile game, and I will say this for a mobile game and stuff. It isn't like a Civilization levels of deep or something, but like for
Oh.
no, I said it's not Civilization levels of deep,
Hmm.
but it's like I heard for mobile game it's decent. I don't know much about it except for the fact that there is a lot of anime-looking girls, so that's something.
Good to know Nintendo's finally going that route.
Anyway,
I mean, anime and gaming, what's the difference at this point?
so, oh yeah, released only a couple days ago, September 27th, so 2 days ago from my time at least. But, sounds interesting, sounds cool. So, what were we originally talking about, by the way? I forgot.
No, was it the Xbox getting a mouse and keyboard support, I believe?
It was. I wonder how that'll work. Like, will you just plug it into the Xbox and, like, boom? Or will you have to buy, like, some special cables or something?
Well, I could see you plugging into the Xbox and then boom.
Yeah, I could.
Because it's made by Microsoft, after all, they should work.
I just think that is kind of cool and stuff, just for, like, people who, like, play on Xbox but also want to use keyboard and mouse controls and stuff. Really cool.
Yeah. At that point, why not just get a semi-decent PC? But, to each their own. I'm glad they're getting the option.
To each their own. Like, I personally think it would, at that point, I would be like, just get a PC, but, like, hey, I'm not them and stuff. Like, maybe for some crazy specific reason, they need to get, like, an Xbox One or something.
Yeah, or it's just their preference.
Nothing wrong with, like, subjective preferences. In fact, some would say subjective.
Yeah. Even if you're a mobile gamer, you can still use a controller or a mouse and keyboard.
Subjectivism is not overrated, in my opinion. That's something objective people should learn, am I right?
I don't know. What's the joke?
It's a shitty joke. I was trying to, like, do a small, subtle jab at objective criticism, but it didn't work.
Hey, there is objective criticism,
I know, but I'm just saying...
Yeah, a story can objectively be badly written.
Fair enough. Yeah, I agree now.
Yeah, and I would say there is such a thing as objectively bad art.
But yeah, I agree to an extent. Like, there's some things where I would say, like, I'm not sure. Long story short, I agree. I'm not going to this debate again.
Oh, come on, it's a fun debate. At least extends the podcast.
Yeah, but I was made a fool the last time, and I've since then, like, listened to other people more, and I've since kind of changed at least a little bit. What am I trying?
Well, there, see, the Darth Platypus can be brought back to light indeed. How nice. All we have to do now is convince him that Jackson Pollock is a hack.
Who is Jackson Pollock?
Look up his artwork, you'll see what I mean.
I'll look it up right now. Jackson, P-O-L-L-O-K.
I think it's CK, but whatever. Google should autocorrect it.
Okay.
Yes, that's a secret you may not know about me. I am terrible at spelling.
Like, even, like, I don't know. What's wrong with his work? Is it because
It's a mess. And he passes it off as great serious art.
I mean, I guess, but it's like, here's where it's subjective, like, I would argue, like, okay, now, I guess I am gonna have to argue about subjectivism. Like, I would agree, maybe you could say it's a bad piece of work. I mean, I don't think it is, but, like, maybe you could prove it, but, like, even then, I could see it, like, having subjective value in what it could say to someone or whatnot, and...
Well, what does it say to you?
To me, it just looks like a nice mess. Like a mess with some sense of purpose in a way. Does that make sense?
A mess with a sense of purpose?
I mean, yeah, you ever heard of organized chaos?
Yes, I have. I would say it's very different from a mess.
Well, some would call organized chaos a bit of a mess.
No, they would call it natural order. That emerges from chaos, not chaos itself.
Trying to look up I'm trying to look up like what kind of sort of impact this Pollock guy has had. Apparently he's pretty famous. Do a lot of people hate him or just you?
I'm sure I'm not the only one. It's been a recent thing with modern art where they just take random things that are not good and present them as, ooh, wow, amazing. This is the next generation of art. That's sad.
Well, like, to be fair, there's like probably a lot of things that get accused of that, or that are like that.
There have been people who did experiments in art museums where they didn't leave a pair of glasses on the floor and people thought it was art.
Like, to be fair, some people called 2001 Space Odyssey meaningless and full of shit.
2001 Space Odyssey?
You never heard of 2001 Space Odyssey?
I've heard of it, just never seen it.
But yeah, like I've seen some people say that it's just like full of shit and stupid.
Okay, let's look it up then.
I don't know, there is such thing as I don't know, I do agree with you and stuff that there is like a lot of pretentious art out there that's like, wow, being pressed by me when all it is just fucking shit. But at the same time, there's also the opposite. Sometimes people can accuse something of being pretentious when it's so clearly not. So.
Okay, so now you're basically arguing for the beginner's guide storyline.
Is the beginner's guide storyline good? Or are you saying that's good or bad?
Well, no, that is a game I recommend people play, for example. And I probably can't even say too much about it without even really spoiling the whole reveal of the plot.
Are you saying that a lot of people view it as pretentious bullshit, where you think it's deep and whatnot?
Well, for that one, I don't know. I wonder if I should even do a Let's Play of that one, but I'll probably spoil it too much.
Like, what I'm asking is it viewed by a lot of people, like you said, like, why do you bring up the beginner's guide in response to what I said? Like, is it, like, viewed as pretentious bullshit, but, like, do a lot of, or, like...
That's something I recommend you play for yourself. There are some people that try to put meaning into things that don't really have any meaning, and that's why Jackson Pollock, I would say, is more successful than he really deserves to be.
So are you saying...
People try to put too much meaning into art that really isn't there. Basically, they have English teacher syndrome.
So are you saying, like, there isn't any meaning in the beginner's guide, or...
Well, that's a Jackson Pollock. I do recommend people play the beginner's guide, by the way. It's on Steam. Seriously, check it out, people.
I'm confused on what you're saying. I don't... You keep on saying you said first you liked it, but now you're saying, like, it's full of shit? I don't understand.
Look, no, just play the beginner's guide, will you? You'll understand what I mean.
I want to know now. I can't...
Because that would spoil the experience.
They're saying, but are you... Like, just answer this one question.
So I recommend the beginner's guide, damn it. Let's move on. Damn it.
I do agree about that, though. Like, some people, like, look way too deeply into things, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes the opposite effect can happen. But I already said that. Like, here's a question I have that should be an interesting debate. Like, what do you... Like, I've heard the claim... People say that, what was it? Oh yeah, that everything is political. What do you think of people who say that everything's political?
I think they're looking way too deep into things. I mean, I think I showed you at one point, there was a tweet about some comedian that didn't make political content, and that was a fundamentally political statement he was making by not being political.
Well, like, to be fair, sometimes not saying something can be saying something in certain scenarios. Like, for example, like, let me think, like, if someone's begging you to help and you just stand there, you are kind of you're a bad person, you know?
I don't think that applies in any way in the circumstances.
Fair enough.
I mean, what E3 was it that was accused of not caring about a violent shooting that happened? I can't remember which year that was. But there was an E3 conference, I can't remember which year, that was accused of supporting violent shootings and not caring that they happen.
Okay.
You know, I think that was really recent. I just can't remember what year it was. Because they showed a bunch of new shooter games that were coming out in the same year a mass shooting took place, and that's what they were accused of doing, supporting mass shootings, not caring that they happen, being insensitive. I mean, despite the fact that it's E3, it's planned a year in advance. Companies spend ages trying to make all their trailers perfect, and they're supposed to throw all that down the drain because of one event in a totally different place that they can predict or have any control over.
Fair enough.
And of course, people looked way too deeply into that. They found meanings that just weren't there, but because they wanted them to be there they were.
But
Can you think of any games or artwork where that happens?
where what happens exactly? Can you repeat that?
Where people just find meaning that's not really there, but they desperately want it to be there, so they find it.
I mean, yeah, all the time and stuff.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, that's probably where the everything is political comes from. People they find meaning that's not there.
one thing I do hate though, which I'm against though, you brought this up, in one of your older videos, like not older videos, but one of your other videos, like about politics and gaming,
Mm-hmm.
and that I agree that, like, I don't know, I'm sort of expanding upon some of your points in that video, like
Oh, that was the one I explained how Final Fantasy X was actually an anti-war, anti-government feminist game. That one.
like a lot of people, like, nothing against Rags, Top S Japan or whatnot, but they will like constantly saying things. They don't want politics at all in games, movies, whatnot, whatever. They don't want it referenced whatsoever. I feel like that's sort of a bad attitude to take, because if you're like, you don't want it whatsoever, you're sort of like devaluing the art then, because then you're saying like, oh, people are allowed to cover these and this topics, but not that and that topic, you know? Like an art should like...
Well, no. I mean, I do agree. I mean, I think I said in the video, but as long as you put the story first, you can put whatever kind of political theme or message you in there.
Yeah, and like,
But no,
also,
my problem was if you put the political message before the story, it becomes very, very obvious, and the story is degraded.
yeah. But it's like, yeah, my problem is just like when, like, and like there are times, and like, as long as the story is good and like the theme is consistent and other stuff, blah blah blah, even if the political message I disagree with, I can at least like appreciate it and whatnot. But it's like, it also depends on your execution of how you do the political stuff. Like, are you gonna do it subtly, or are you gonna have a scene like in Life is Strange 2 where there's a guy that says, you're the reason we need to build that wall.
Yeah. There's such thing as making it a bit too blatant.
To be fair, from what I understand, it does somewhat fit into the story of what happens. Like, apparently the two main characters are, like, Mexican or something. They're accused of a crime and stuff, so I guess you could... I guess you could make the argument that it does make sense and whatnot, but it's... Still, I couldn't help but feel like that moment was a bit on the nose. You know?
Okay. I guess as long as it does serve the overall point of the story, okay, fine. I can get past a few points that are a bit too obvious what the writer's political views are.
I mean, like, I don't know. I would recommend, like anyone, don't take my word for it. At least, like, look up the scene for yourself and then make your own judgments and whatnot. But I thought it was a bit silly. I just don't like... I've only looked up bits and pieces of it, so that's why I don't feel entirely confident in talking about it. If I brought it up at all was just because of the way it happened and the way he said it was just in a sort of funny way. At least I thought it was. Anyway, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else you have to talk about?
Well, are there any other stories you can think of where that happens?
Where, like, what is it?
It's like they execute it not so good.
In terms of
It's like, okay, yeah, there's a political theme in there, but they make it a little bit too obvious.
For me, not at the moment. I can't really think of one. Trying to think of, like, I guess, like, I don't know, I didn't see this movie, but I heard apparently, I feel uncomfortable talking about this because I haven't actually seen the movie. I'm basing this off of what a friend of mine told me, but There's this movie called Nymphomaniac, which is pretty much about a woman who's like obsessed with having sex with anything that moves.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this part of the movie that keeps on jumping back to where like she talks about some social issues or whatnot, and it kind of seems obvious, apparently, that like it's just sort of the director using that scene to mouthpiece some of his social
Yeah.
some of his opinions on social issues. Not all of them, and like the problem he had with it was not that he disagreed with them, but it was because it just sort of felt like it was just shoved in there for no purpose or whatnot.
Yeah.
So maybe Nymphomania, but I haven't actually seen it. I've just
So it'd be kind of similar to the whole Kanto bite scenes in The Last Jedi. You know, I'm not trying to criticize the movie, but the scenes were in there, and the criticism felt really unnecessary and forced. It didn't really lead to anything. So do you say it's kind of like that?
I mean, like, again, I haven't actually seen Nymphomaniac. I'm only going off of what my friends said. But like, based on what my friends said, it's more of just like a scene that they occasionally cut to, where they'll just briefly talk about social issues for a minute or two, then they get back to the movie. It's sort of like pausing the video and looking up something completely different for a minute or two, you know?
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I've heard.
Okay.
Again, I'm going off what a friend of mine said. Don't take everything I say as a Bible or gospel.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think. Is there anything else I could talk about, or should I put it off here?
Well, let's see. What else did we want to talk about? Let's see. Well, there's Steins Gate coming in.
Right.
That's being remastered, apparently.
It's called Steins Gate Elite. It's coming, I think, to PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and maybe other systems. I'm not sure though. But it's pretty much Steins Gate again, but like instead of the visual novel scenes, it's scenes from the anime. And apparently, some scenes that were never animated will be animated in this version. The other ending.
Okay, so some of the alternate endings are going to be animated scenes, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, does that be somewhat interesting to see?
But like, I could look that up on YouTube once it comes out.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time. Oh. Other than that, do you want to wrap up the episode here?
Yeah, okay, I mean, we've gone over 45 minutes. Well, at least over 40 minutes. That's pretty good for us at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, I miss the days when we could go longer.
We need to get Inquisitor and Lethality in again. That'll allow us to go over an hour.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's actually a recent topic. We've been considering adding even more people to the podcast.
Yeah. So,
once we do more research on them.
Yeah. So hopefully that'll work out.
In fact, if you'd like to apply to be on the podcast, just make sure to message us.
Yeah.
Or message Papa G at least.
Message one of us.
Yeah. He's active in the comments as far as I know.
Yeah, I'm pretty active. I respond to most comments that most if not all comments that are posted on the videos. So
and with your help we can get bigger.
Yep. So on that note, please subscribe, please come on this podcast, please give us money, and please convert to communism. It's underrated.
Wait, you want money and then communism?
Yeah, I want money and then communism so I can spend that money first. Either way, have a great night, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.